I am making this video because of a podcast that I just listened to this morning, and it influenced me in a way that reflected back some things to me that I feel like I need to work on, and maybe you need to work on too. I think we're all guilty of this, and I think that it's something that for anyone that is trying to do anything, I think it's an important message. And the podcast is the Jack Neal podcast, and he had on someone named Jet Franzen, which I'd never heard of before, but he seemed like a cool guy. Don't really know much about him other than what was on the podcast, but there's a particular section where he was talking about the algorithm and just algorithms in general on social media, and I thought, wow. Like, I think one of the things that he said was a lot of us don't necessarily have meaning or anything that we're necessarily striving towards. And so, on social media or in just out in the world, there are these divisive tactics and things that happen in the world, and you as a person can identify yourself with, oh, I don't like Joe Biden, or oh, I don't like Trump. And based on your emotional state, that then can really quickly align you to, I'm a good person because of that, however, which way you lean or whatever. And just because you believe in X, Y, and Z person, that means that there are certain traits about you that you can quickly associate yourself with. But as they were going on to talk about this, I realized that a lot of my businesses that I've tried to start, and I think a big reason why they fail is because there's mental friction, not so much actual friction in the business in terms of like, I don't know what to do or things aren't working. Like, I can actually get things to work pretty well, not trying to brag. But like, if I do outreach, my conversions are really, really high. Like, I study how to do it. I know how to do everything. But the bigger problem that I usually run into is a mental friction of not being aligned with the thing that I'm doing, or feeling like I'm posting as something that I'm not. And that usually gets in my way more than anything else when starting a business, when doing anything. And I am in the middle of editing a video to release this weekend for you guys. And I don't know which one I'm going to work on first or post first, so whatever. But basically, in the video, it's like I go from concept of building a business into like having it running. And so now, as I'm recording this video, it's completely up and running. There's a landing page. I know how to get clients. I know what I'm doing, what I'm offering, who I'm serving, all of that stuff, right? But there's still the aspect of like, I haven't done this before as a business. And a lot of people will call this imposter syndrome, whatever. I think it's really important because, tying back to the podcast that I listened to this morning, the thought that ran through my head was, we don't have anything to work off of in terms of like our own life and what we have going for us. So we try to associate and quickly grasp at other people's accomplishments and other people's ideals. And that's how we define ourselves, and that's how we build our identity. Whereas what I would like to do moving forward is to build this business with integrity and authenticity and just a matter of fact of where I'm at, not trying to post as something that I'm not. This is something that I've heard from Alex Hormozy a couple of times as well. He has a very like particular stance on imposter syndrome of like, if you like imposter syndrome, I don't want to misquote him. I'm going to look it up because I don't want to. Bear with me. Yeah. Okay. So Alex Hormozy says that imposter syndrome is often just telling untruths or pretending to be an expert. I've also seen Caleb Ralston talk about this. A lot of people talk about this, especially with like personal branding and like coaching and, being an entrepreneur and whatnot, is like this like fake it till you make it. I think there's an aspect of, actually, I think that's probably a really important point. There is this piece of advice that's like fake it till you make it, but I think people blur the lines between the mental attitude that you have to have, and then the actual things that come out of it's like the back end versus the front end. In regards to a business, it's like on the back end, you want to fake it till you make it, and you need to believe that you're actually going to make it, and then you will act in certain ways that will unlock ways for you to learn and get better and become the person that you see in your mind. But on the front end, if you're faking it, then it's inauthentic and probably not going to work out too well. And you're probably going to have this like imposter syndrome happening. And I think blurring those two things probably causes a lot of problems for people, including myself. Because this is really me just kind of rambling through. I have like 4 bullet points here on my computer that I'm reading off of and trying to refer back to and not to get lost. This is a little bit different style video, but I just thought, especially looking at Jet Franzen's like work, I think there's something to be said about like running through ideas for yourself. And I think kind of going back to this idea, like, yes, I want to fake it till I make it, in terms of like, I know where I want to be and I know I'm not there yet, but I'm going to act as if I am there. But then on the front end, I want to be, I want to have integrity and I want to be authentic and honest about where I'm at. And so where I'm at is I have this idea for a business that I think is like phenomenal, but I don't have the years of experience like someone like Caleb Ralston does. Like if Caleb Ralston was starting the business that I am, like that's a very different thing. He's one of the top experts in what I'm trying to do, but I don't have as much experience. And so what does that mean that I have to do in order to overcome that? Well, I wrote down here a new mission for me is to build a body of work that it would become unreasonable for me not to succeed. And so in light of that, I'm making this video that I have no idea how long it's going to be. I don't have any expectations of what the final product is going to be, but I figure this is such an important thing. And honestly, like, go listen to this podcast. It's Jack Neal podcast with Jet Franzen, pretty recent release, and it was pretty good. I think in our modern world, thinking about, especially like the idea of creating over consuming. That's kind of what they open with, and it's kind of like a through line throughout the whole episode. It really is such a problem, and I'm very much guilty of this. Like, I just had to up on my phone. I have Opal. I have Opal on my phone, which is like an app blocker, and I had to up my time of like, I had to lower my time of how much time I'm allowed on social media, because I just like, the time is just getting away from me. And I think, and something that I talk about on the podcast of like being able to build your identity and is a much more rare skill. Having free agency, having like creating a life where you're the creator, where you're able to genuinely come from a place of source, is very rare in today's world. Like I said, with like the Joe Biden versus Trump thing, it's like there are identities that are being fed to you, not you choosing your own identity. Like, I just think that's a really important thing, and not enough of us create more than we consume. And so, there are like some very practical things that I've been trying to do the past couple of months. I've been writing or journaling every morning for at least 10 minutes, but ideally like 3 pages worth, which is quite a lot for me. I guess I'm a slow writer. And I actually do try to, my journal's over there, but I do try to actually like write, not do like in Notion on my computer, because I think there's something about that. There's something about that I don't know. It hurts my hand, but I think it's worth it. I don't have anything substantial to actually like build that on, but yeah, I just wanted to check in with this video, because I think, especially with the video that I am in the middle of making right now of building the business, it's like, I know that I have a lot of knowledge, but I don't have a lot of practical use cases of that knowledge. And I think being able to, little tired today, apparently. I don't know, being able to be honest about those gaps that I have, I think is important, especially when building a brand. With me helping other people build brands, there are certain things that I need to do that are going to replicate the kind of work that I'm going to do for other people. Like there's a certain point in someone's career where you just have to put in the reps and practice over and over and reiterate and try new things and go and go and go. And then take what works and try to implement that into future things and leave what doesn't work. And so that's kind of part of this video. A little bit more raw, a little bit more ranty, a lot more ranty. And not using AI, and not because I think AI is bad, but I think for being able to think, I get this weird thing when drinking like energy drinks or just what's it called? Carbonated drinks. That's why I don't drink soda. Is like I'll burp and then it'll like bubble up into my nose. I hate it. Anyway, that's beyond the scope of this video. But yeah, so where am I going with this video? One, I want to make a new goal for myself to create more than I consume. And there are just certain things that like my phone, like I don't have the willpower to not get on my phone. And so I need to put in app blockers that I pay money for in order to stop myself from doing that. So create more than consume, implementing like those little habits to do that, like journaling in the morning, first thing in the morning before I do anything, so I can create something. Not that it's public, not that it's something that, maybe the ideas that I write about will make it public one day in a video or something, but more than anything, just creating in general. Doing those little things, being able to have the solitude, the time to yourself to be able to think for yourself and not be influenced by other people, your other relationships, people that you follow or whatever. Having that solitude, being able to take time for yourself, having those little pieces of your life to be able to think for yourself. And then two, I think a new mission for my business to kind of build off of the create over consuming aspect is to build a body of work that it would be unreasonable not to succeed. And that's kind of a new thing for me. So it's like, how many videos can I put out on YouTube? How many things can I create on Instagram? How much can I build, even if it's not perfect, to where it would be unreasonable that I wouldn't have my own personal brand and other people would want to do that for themselves and reach out to me naturally. Like, how much would that be? It's probably a lot. And so I had other plans this morning, but just thinking about this at the gym while I was listening to the podcast, I was like, I need to film this video like right now, because it's not going to get out and I'm going to lose that thought. Trying to shorten that gap between thought and reality as much as possible to be the creator of my own life, have a life of agency, is something that I'm going to be working towards. The last thing that I want to touch on, because I think it is really important, is that a lot of these things are subconscious. These are things that you don't necessarily think of on a day-to-day basis, but when you're consuming content, you start to act different, like slowly but surely. And like, if you think about some of your relationships, like your friends and whatnot, like how much of a conversation can you have without referencing the media that you've consumed? Probably not a lot. Like even my wife and I, like sometimes will be like, oh, I have some like funny things to show you on Instagram. Or like, did you see that? Like, that was so wild. Like, just things like that, where it's like, it's so ingrained into the way that we live that it's like, that's the really scary thing about all of this, is that it's so subconscious that it's hard to even like point at it as like as a tangible thing to start to work on. And so that's why like I just put on app blockers, writing, creating content, picking up the camera, picking up your phone, even if you don't post it, and just like starting to think for yourself and to actually like just do something, or even like grabbing like Notion on your laptop and just like typing, brain dumping, all of those things, getting an X or a Thread account and just like tweeting, posting random thoughts. It's just, I think is really important. I think it's really important or like art or taking photos or, you know, whatever it is. I don't know. But just creating over consuming, I think, is going to be one of the best things that you can do for yourself long term in today's world, without AI. Not that AI isn't important; it's very important. But if you replace the thinking that you do for yourself and you outsource that to AI, you're going to be worse for wear, I think. And that's just, I mean, that's the most important thing that you can do, is to think for yourself. And if you're going to be outsourcing that with every little thing that you do, like for this video, I was like, I don't have much time to film this, so I like almost went to Claude and was like, hey, I have this idea for a video, like blah blah blah. Can you help me out and outline, just make some bullet points for me? And I like, before I opened Claude, I was like, no, that literally defeats the whole fucking purpose of this video. And so I just wrote a couple of bullet points for myself, and now I'm rambling through this. And obviously it's probably not as structured as if I were to do that with Claude, but it's still but the important thing is that it's like, this is my raw thinking. And I think that skill, no matter what comes of this video, is more important to develop than the outcome of the video going viral or being optimized for YouTube. It's the input of trying to develop my thinking as a human being. I think that makes sense. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you gained something from it. And go get after it. See ya.